Hi, welcome back. I'm Chris Hitchens, your college application coach from College Admissions Solutions, member of the Bethel Park Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to be here this week talking with Heather Campbell from Club Z Tutoring. Also, please join me on Tuesday, March 26th. I'll be at the Bethel Park Public Library talking to parents of students who are artists, thespians, cheerleaders, dancers, majorettes, and explain to them how they can go about searching for that best fit college for their student. The goal is to find that best fit college, that place where the student's going to thrive, where they're going to be happy, where they will feel safe, where they can graduate in 4 years and become gainfully employed, and hopefully not to land in your basement. We're going to start off with questions. If you have questions for me, you can send them to, if you log on to collegeadmissionssolutions.com. There are boxes where you can enter your questions, and hopefully they'll make it on the air. All right, first question comes from Cammie. Cammie writes, my son is a junior and has been playing for his club hockey coach. Has been waiting for his club hockey coach to talk to him about playing at college. How long should we wait, or should we approach him? All right, Cammie. I am not a big proponent of waiting for high school club coaches to run the college recruiting process. This is something really the family should take control of. Different coaches have different approaches, but you really want to start this process on your own. I would use the coach as a resource or a sounding board, but this is a big endeavor, and I just can't imagine a lot of coaches have the time to put in to make it worthwhile. So you should start investigating colleges right now, and maybe use him and his opinions as a resource. Sarah asks, a college coach asked for our daughter's highlight video, and my husband just wants to send him email clips from his phone. She plays volleyball. My husband said the coach can pick out what he needs to evaluate our daughter, but I think we need something more professional. What should we do? We can't spend a lot of money having a video produced. All right. I want to see one thing up front. Highlight videos are the #1 best tool, without a doubt, to have your child recruited to play athletics in college. No doubt. Unless you are football or probably men's basketball, the recruiting budget for these other sports is extremely small or non-existent. The coaches are waiting for you to contact them, and your highlight video or workout video is extremely important. So I wouldn't send clips from my phone, but you can use your phone to take video, but you really want to put it together in a concise package. A coach will not sit there and look for clips and look at little clips and try to pick out your student and follow them without a little bit of guidance. So now, what about spending money for a professionally edited video? All right, I have to say, kids these days are probably well-versed, and your child probably knows somebody who can help you put a video together at extremely low cost, if there's any cost involved at all. But you do want to put something together that's coherent, that the coach can follow. Question comes from Matt. My son is a junior and runs cross country and may be able to compete in college. He received some attention from some Ivy League schools. That's awesome. His grades are excellent. So do you think he can get both an academic scholarship and an athletic scholarship? All right, it's awesome that he's running cross country. Awesome that he's so talented he could be able to compete in college. But Ivy League schools don't give academic scholarships. Reason is the students who go to Ivy League schools are academically talented. There's no way to distinguish one from another for the most part. They don't give academic scholarships. And also, even though a lot of sports at Ivy League schools are Division I, they also do not give athletic scholarships. Now, they do give need-based scholarships. But if you think you're going to need more than that, if you think you're going to need an athletic or academic scholarship, now's the time to start looking for colleges. A student does not have to go to Harvard to come out and be successful. There are a lot of schools. Find the schools that match him athletically and match him academically. The tools are out there. I know it's a lot of work, but in the long run, it's worth it. Amy asks, my son's baseball coach is not doing enough to get him recruited by colleges. I hear this a great deal. Obviously, we don't know the first thing about the process. Shouldn't he be doing more? What can we do to get him to help us? Again, I can't lay off the responsibility to coaches to help the student get recruited. The family really needs to steer this ship and run this process. So you can use him as a resource, but it's really time to start digging and looking at colleges. All right, so what do I do? How many colleges should you look at? My son's a baseball player. All right, so I would decide how important is it for him to get an athletic scholarship? How important is it for him to even play baseball? Are academics more important or athletics more important? And I start to make my college lists. And you may come up with a list of 5 colleges. It may grow to 10, to 20, to 30, 40. You may come up with a list of 50 or more schools where potentially he could play baseball. And now you want to decide which schools are worth contacting. And I'm going to send a letter to the coach and say, hey, I'm interested in your school. Here's the reason why. I think it'd be a good fit, and get that relationship going. But it's truly up to the family to move this process along. I would not hand off this kind of responsibility to anyone else. College, you're going to spend between $100,000 and $250,000 on this transaction. I'm not leaving it up to anyone else unless I'm actually hire them to help me out. Inessa writes, my daughter is a great softball player and a junior in high school. Ever since middle school, everyone we know has been telling us she is a shoo-in for a college scholarship. She has received a few mailings from college coaches, but now we're finding out there are almost no scholarships for girl athletes. What are we supposed to do now? These magical scholarships, they don't exist. There are scholarships for sports other than football and basketball. They're out there. They can be few and far between, depending on the school, depending on the student's level of ability. They can be out there, but just like we mentioned to the last question, you really want to start to investigate the colleges and find out where the money is. Kids are told at a very young age, if they have any skill at all in wrestling and soccer and softball and tennis and bowling, oh, you're great, you're going to get a college scholarship. And then parents find out, just as you did, they are sometimes difficult to locate. All right, so again, it's time to start looking, digging. The tools are out there. If you go to my website, I'm giving a number of talks this spring about how athletes can go about their college search and look for these scholarships and how to contact these coaches. That takes us to the end of our first segment. Again, I'm Chris Hitchens, your college application coach. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Gary. I'm a recruiter for the 2020 census. And I want to talk about an opportunity that only comes along once every 10 years. It's a decennial census. And we're hiring hundreds of people. No testing involved, no resumes. To apply for these jobs, the website is 2020census.gov/jobs. With great pay, flexible hours. The hours are great. You can work morning, evening, afternoons, whatever suits your schedule. And it's weekly pay, which is a great thing. And also there's paid training, and also we pay from the time you leave the house to the time you get home, along with mileage. Apply right now. Thank you so much. Again, 2020census.gov/jobs. Thank you for your time.
Hey, it's Christine from Bethel Park Library. I want to tell you about a great fundraiser we have going on. You can take home a print of this cute sloth painted by local artist Maria Prasic, was inspired by Vivian, the sloth that lives at the National Aviary. The original painting will be housed at the Bethel Park Library forevermore, but you can own a 16 by 20 print for $50. You can purchase it at the Bethel Park Public Library or through the library's website at bethelparklibrary.org.
Welcome back. I'm Chris Hitchens, your college application coach from College Admission Solutions, a member of the Bethel Park Chamber of Commerce. Join me here at the Bethel Park Public Library Tuesday, March 26th, when I talk to parents of students who are actors, artists, majorettes, cheerleaders, dancers, and what's the best way to find that college where they can continue with their with this endeavor. All right, back to questions. Millie asks, how does the government contact a student when it's time to repay loans? I have to tell my daughter to search her emails. For the record, in caps, all caps, I strongly dislike email communication. It's so easy to miss important ones. All right, so short answer is Facebook. Facebook page, go to Federal Student Aid. Facebook, Federal Student Aid, and there will be a repay tab you can look at. But you have to go back, ask her to go back and check her email. So here's a word about email. Searching for colleges is a giant transaction. Again, you're going to spend between $100,000 and $250,000 on this transaction. So excuses like, I don't like email, that just doesn't fly. So what I advise students to do when they're sophomore, junior, is to create one specific email address that only pertains to the college application process, and that the parent has access to that email address so they can also check it. Nothing personal is in there. So the parent and the student can both check this, whatever comes into this inbox. There's no excuse for letting things get lost, and no excuse for saying, I don't like email because it's easy to lose things. No, it's not easy to lose things in email, but you have to treat this situation seriously. So again, Facebook, Federal Student Aid, there'll be a repay, but go back and check your emails. I'm sure they tried to contact you. They're not going to contact families or kids through text. Michelle, probably a super basic question, but how do students pay for things when they are away at school? From the quick research my student has done, you have to be 21 or older to get a credit card. Thanks in advance. Just a note, not a fan of using debit, not a fan of signing up my student as an authorized user. All right, there's a number of simple ways. One is to contact your bank. They may have a suggestion about what kind of credit cards students can use to, they would be authorized to use to build their credit. Just making your student authorized to use your credit card may not build their credit. I know Discover, I have no affiliation with Discover, but Discover has a student credit card for college students. Also, you can just get a reloadable credit card and just put a few $100s on that reloadable credit card and load it up when necessary. Jackie writes, I think I already know the answer to this, but here goes. My high school sophomore son plays basketball year-round. He has only 2-3 week break in between winter and spring vacations, winter and spring seasons. That's it for the whole year unless I pull him out for vacation or illness. We all know that his in-season schedule is like, since it's typical. June is also incredibly busy at the high school. 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. There's morning practices, plus multiple games on the weekends. I don't need a lecture about how he's playing too much and will get injured. That's not up for discussion. My question is for parents of athletes. How do they fit in clubs and activities? He's taking honors, AP, straight A student. He does volunteer here and there, but clubs, how can he fit that in? He has no interest anyway, but I'm worried about college applications. All right. If the student is not, I'm not going to give you a lecture about playing too much, but the student is not interested in clubs, don't join a club. There's no point. If he's trying to pad his resume, any student tried to pad their college resume by joining clubs, forget it. There's no interest, don't join the club. And if you join a club, you should be very involved in that club. You should look for leader positions in that club. But if you're not interested in the club, don't try to pad your resume with clubs. And a student like this, I'm going to be honest with you, it probably doesn't matter if they're not involved with clubs. That's for this particular student. They're focused on one thing. Some colleges look at things that one focus as being very important. Some colleges won't, but I'm going to tell you, don't join clubs in this situation just to pad your resume, and don't worry about it. Kate, in your opinion, how many parents put more work into the college planning process than the students? And does this concern you that parents may be investing more time and energy and they might not be ready, and investing financially might be a bad idea? So what I get from this question is, are parents putting in more time and energy into the college application process than the student, and is it worthwhile? All right, first of all, college application process is a giant transaction. And how old is a student in high school? 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. I would not allow a 14, 15, 16, or 17-year-old student to guide a process that involves hundreds of thousands of dollars. So truly, the parents should be guiding this process. The students should be doing a great deal of the work. They should be listing their schools, investigating the schools, talking to the parents, talking to their counselors. But I'm not going to let the student steer this ship. So the parents should be in control, but the students should be putting a great deal of work into the process. From John, I've seen Dave Ramsey's programs mentioned here often as a way to gain control over debt. Is it truly worth the cost? All right, so Dave Ramsey, financial guru. I have no affiliation with Dave Ramsey. I have taken one of his courses called Financial Peace. I believe that course has very sound advice. It is a lot of work. Do I think it was worth taking? I do. I don't recommend it necessarily, but if people ask me, I will tell them I believe Financial Peace is worth it. There's a lot of good information. It gives you sort of a different way of looking at credit and debt and how to handle money. I do believe it's worth it. If you have an opportunity to take Financial Peace course, it's worth it. To implement the techniques is a lot of work. I believe it can be well worth it. Next question from Carrie. My question today is about scholarships. The kids are told, and I've read a zillion and one articles and posts about applying for as many as you can. I understand there's a ton of scholarships out there, but what's a realistic number that your kids have applied for, not necessarily winning, but actually put forth the time and effort to apply for? All right, here's the thing about scholarships. Are there a zillion out there? Maybe. Are they worth your effort and time? Probably not. Some are. Money's going to come from, the money worth chasing is the money that's going to come from the college itself. That's the money I advise students to work for. There's a lot of issues with outside scholarships. Sometimes outside scholarships affects money that the college will give you. We've talked about that before. So if you go outside, you go out and you win a $2,000 scholarship from your parents' union, the school may deduct that $2,000 from your need-based scholarship that they were going to award you. So is it worth it all the time? It is not. And I would do some investigation whether it's going to be worth it for your time and effort. It can be a lot of time. Can be a lot of effort. You get nothing out of the process. Sometimes you're penalized for the process. So that's a longer discussion. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. Last question. Can we use our 529 money for AP tests? We have quit contributing to our 529 plan because we have heard they hurt more than they help. Okay, a couple things with this question. First of all, I'm sorry, you can't use your 529 money for the AP tests, paying for the AP tests. The other issue is, I'm not a financial advisor, but you should not stop funding your 529 plan. You should be saving for college education, and the 529 plan is a very powerful way to do this. You should talk to a financial expert, a financial advisor, but there's probably no reason to stop saving money for college. And 529 plan, again, is very powerful. Like, even if and I did underline, because we have heard, you have to stop listening to friends, family, and neighbors, and from their experiences, you get a lot of bad advice out there. Even your 529 plan, even when you save $10,000, it may increase your estimated financial contribution by another $500 or $600, but that's really a drop in the bucket. The more you save now, the less you'll have to borrow. So I'm going to tell you, you should save money and possibly talk to a financial person. All right, that ends this segment. We're going to be back with Heather Campbell from Club Z Tutoring.
I've shown an interest in making home movies. Me and some buddies would just grab a camera and you just start making these videos, and then you realize at some point that this isn't just a hobby anymore, it's something that you actually want to pursue, and there's this great facility right down the road, BPTV. A lot of people will try to do these productions on their own, And one of the things they don't have is the equipment, you know, but right here is everything she needs in one nice little bundle. There's lights, cameras, reflectors, dollies, all kinds of little knickknacks, like anything that you'd want to use that she would need for a production, you have it right here, like it's all right here. You can make your own feature movie just with the stuff from this studio. Come meet Dave Cable, let him show you around, and I think you'll realize that this is something that you could fall into regardless of your level of expertise, whether you're a beginner or even if you're a more advanced learner. There's something here for everyone, and I feel that you just need to come through and just be a part of the experience and just watch and learn, and you know, let Dave be your guide.
Hi, welcome back to College Admission Coach. My name's Chris Hitchens from College Admission Solutions, a member of the Bethel Park Chamber of Commerce. In this segment, I'm joined by Heather Campbell from Club Z Tutoring. Welcome, Heather. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I love having you here. Awesome. All right, so what do we want to talk about today?
So with it being the new year and January is coming to a fast end, I figured it's good to talk about the SAT and ACT
Coming up,
tests.
no doubt.
Yeah, and the big question that I tend to get from a lot of families is which one should my student take,
Me too.
the SAT or the ACT?
Yep.
So I think really important is all 4-year colleges and universities will accept either test.
No doubt. Yep.
So it really depends on which test plays to your student's strengths. So I figured today we could talk a little bit about which each test encompasses and the scoring of each one and that kind of thing. Which one did you take? Do you remember?
It was a long time ago. I remember I did take the SAT, right? And I didn't even know probably back then, I'm talking the 80s, I didn't maybe not have even heard about the ACT.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
probably from the school,
Yeah.
you know, the high school I went to, that was it.
Mm-hmm. And I actually took the ACT, and
Oh.
what I was told by my guidance counselor at the time, this was in the 90s,
Okay.
so not
Well,
much longer after
Well, I'm
yours,
sure it's at least over 10 years. So,
was that if I was going to an in-state school, the ACT made sense.
Okay.
Probably for me, the SAT would have made a little more sense because I wasn't super strong in science.
got it.
And that was a key component of the ACT, but I got into the school I wanted to, so all was well with the world. So really the components, the ACT actually has 5 components versus 3 components in the SAT.
Right.
So I think that's really important to take into consideration is where your students' skills lie.
Right.
So with the 5 components, you have English and mathematics, you have reading, and you have science, and then the optional writing test portion, the essay.
It's interesting they have the science part in the ACT, but no science on the
In the
SAT.
SAT,
So
right.
the SAT just pretty much is what, reading, math.
Reading and language arts, and math.
Right.
So, and a big difference of each one is the scoring is obviously very different.
Yeah.
So the SAT recently changed in 2016. So the max score is 1,600 with 800 in
Again.
each section.
Right.
Yeah. And with the ACT, it's an average of 36 in each section,
Right.
and you get the average of each test portion. So I think that a big component is the ACT is much more time sensitive.
Oh.
You have less time to take each portion than you do with the SAT, but the SAT takes longer because
Right.
there's more time.
Sounds like it's grueling. I know we talk to kids about, we want to put your best foot forward. You want to paint the best picture of yourself to college admissions officers. So yeah, it could make a big difference. So how do you know which one to take?
Well, we actually, with Club Z, have a diagnostic that the kids
Beautiful.
can take. If they're a current tutoring student with us, I can give them the diagnostic for free, and they can choose. If they've already taken the PSAT, they might want to take the diagnostic ACT to get an idea.
Yeah.
And it's timed in real time, so they can go in and do the sections and get an idea of how is the time portion going to affect me? Also, kids with better time management skills might look at the ACT versus the SAT just because you need to be able to move through those questions.
Right.
And know which problems to skip and move on to, because the harder questions aren't scored any higher than the easier
Oh, okay.
questions. So if you run into a problem and it's taking you more than a minute to answer, you need
Right.
to move on,
Right.
you know, and
Right,
just
right. And
take
some-
a guess.
Yeah.
Take a guess. Always take a guess because
sometimes
you could
that's
guess
hard to-
right.
Sometimes it's hard to get into that mindset. And we tell our kids, training for the SAT is like training for a marathon or a competition.
Yeah.
And taking that test is grueling. So taking practice tests can make a big difference. We tell kids to take the SAT or the ACT 3 times.
Yeah,
Because just being
absolutely.
a good test taker takes practice and getting used to that environment.
Absolutely. And actually, we've found that kids who take it by their 8th grade year the first time do better by the time they're juniors and seniors.
Really?
Because repetition,
Right.
like you're saying,
Yep.
the more times you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be. Even if you don't study any of the material,
Sure.
you're going to be more comfortable in that setting because it is intimidating.
No doubt. Yep.
Absolutely. So I do have some kind of averages for the tests. An average reading score across the U.S. is 494 out of
Okay.
800. Average math is 508. And average writing and language for the SAT is 482. So really, you don't have to get an 800. You don't have to get a perfect score
don't.
to get into the college that you're looking to get into. And doing that research prior to understand what do the scholarships require, what do the colleges look for. Some colleges don't even require an SAT or
Exactly.
ACT
Right.
test score. So if they don't require it and you didn't do as well as you'd hoped, why send it in?
Exactly.
You know,
Right. So
go
there are
with the
test
more
optional.
essays and the interviews and visiting the colleges
Yep.
versus
Those
the
colleges, they
test.
look for this holistic picture of a student, and if the test scores are going to be a detriment to that picture, then there's ways to get around that.
Absolutely. And honestly, you can also do a lot of super scoring with the colleges. So if you take the test multiple times, you get to pick that best score that you had. And some schools do it with the ACT as well. So you want to look into, does the school allow that? And what is your best option? So if you get a 26 on one section and you get a 13 on another section, but you take it again and you get a 26, you can turn in both those 26s. Same with the SAT. If you get a lower score on the math or reading portion the first time around, but you get higher the second time around, you can turn those scores in
Okay.
and get a better overall.
That's good to know. I'm sure that's a comfort to a lot of people out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it just encourages you to take it multiple times again, because you can always get a couple more points.
Yep. Well worth it. What about test prep?
Well, we offer a variety of test prep options. We can do anything from 10 hours to all the way up to 30 hours of test prep.
So you see a difference in
But-
kids who do test prep as opposed to not doing test prep?
Definitely, definitely. And we can focus in on a certain section. So we can focus in on the math or the reading and comprehension and writing sections, because that's going to help them build up that score in those areas. But you can't teach everything that's on the test. So it's not teaching the
Right.
actual content, it's helping them through those test taking strategies, and especially with kids who already have test anxiety. It's
Sure.
huge for
Imagine
them
that
to
would help
have
a lot.
some support in that and be able to have that experience with the tutor face to face.
All right. That sounds beautiful. All right. That's extremely helpful. Again, Heather Campbell, Club Z Tutoring. I'm Chris Hitchens, College Admission Solutions. Join me March 26th, Tuesday. I'll be at the Bethel Park Library talking to parents of artists, thespians, actors, I guess they're thespians, majorettes, dancers, cheerleaders, and helping them find their best fit college. Thanks again, Heather.
Absolutely.
We'll see everyone soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.